Samay Raina is one of the biggest chess content creators in the world, but he hasn't streamed for a while, and that might lead you to believe that he's lost interest in chess or he's not playing chess. But I am here to tell you, this guy, this clever guy behind our backs has been playing chess almost every single day. And when I'm talking about playing chess, he's playing rapid games, sometimes 10, 20 in a single freaking day. And still he doesn't stream. Okay, even I don't stream, but still, this is not acceptable. We are going to look at a few of his games very quickly. How well is he playing in 2023? Has he finally reached 1900? Or has he gone down? Let's figure it out. Samay started off the year 2023 with a marvelous, brilliant game. D4, D6, C4, Knight F6, Knight C3 and Knight D7. He played the move Knight F3 and Black played the move C5. After Bishop G5, H6, Bishop H4 and C takes D4, he captured this pawn with the Knight and the Knight comes to the center. Excellent move. But now E5, and he plays the move Knight to B5 to capture this D6 pawn. And after the move Knight to B6 to try and control this square, Samay plays the move Bishop F6, which is a great move, typical to the Sicilian defense. You capture on F6 to control the square. And after G takes F6, the only problem is usually White plays the Knight to D5, but Samay, as he is, played the Queen to D5. I really hope that was a mouse slip or some sorts. I think he might have just touched the D5 square with his cursor and then the queen jumped to D5. So basically, when you touch a square, as far as I know, it moves the piece which is most likely to go to that square. At least in my experience. So maybe for Samay, it is the queen which is the most likely to go to D5 and hence he blundered the queen. It was not his fault. And in the next game, he started off with E4, C5, Knight F3, Knight C6, D4 takes. We have the opening Sicilian defense yet again, E5, Knight goes to F5 and here Black plays the move G6. This is not the best move here. D5, D6 could be played, but now it allows Samay to play Knight D6, takes, and Black cannot castle. Black now plays Knight D4, which is a stupid move because Samay could just chop this pawn off now. But he plays Bishop G5, also an excellent idea. After Knight C2 check, Fook. After King to D1, Knight takes E4. If Knight takes A1, of course, Bishop F6 would be the end of the game. So he takes on E4. But unfortunately, simply Queen takes E5 would have been mate into King F8 and then, oh, where's the king headed? King F8 and then Queen H8 mate. But he instead played the move Knight takes E4. That also wins because the Queen is still hanging and Knight F6 is incoming. So that was a crushing victory after a crushing loss. And if you thought Samay was not going to play good chess, you are in for a big surprise in this game. After E4, E5, F4, the King's Gambit, D5, E takes D5, E takes F4, Knight F3, Queen D5, Bishop E2. He prepares to castle quickly and does castle. After Queen to C5, Black is dancing around with this Queen. I don't know what is he doing. King to H1, Knight C6, D4 attacks the Queen. Queen goes to D6 to try and maintain protection of this pawn. Now Knight to B5 attacks both pieces. Queen has to go further back. I don't know why the Queen is moving back incrementally. Like first it was C5, then it went to D5, then it went to D6, then to D7, after Knight E5, probably to D8. I mean, go all the way back in one move, buddy. And now Bishop F4, Knight C7 is hanging. So Bishop D6 is forced. Bishop takes, pawn takes, and now Knight to G5. So Knight takes F7 is a huge threat. And now Black plays Knight F6 to block this. But now Samay plays Bishop C4. So F7 is hanging again. Black castles. Now Queen D3. And can you guess what Samay's threat is? Black plays the move H6. And now Samay plays an insane move. Rook takes F6. And believe it or not, this is a brilliancy. Look at this. It is actually a brilliancy. The board is shining in blue in pride because the point is after G takes F6, Queen H7 is made. So Black had to take the pawn here. And here Samay tried to get another brilliancy. He played the move Queen G6, which as you can see, has some other color on top of its head. This is not a good move. It uses the pin basically on the bishop, so you can't really capture the queen immediately. But now Black can play well. He played D5 and now the bishop is basically blocked. So the queen is hanging And if the queen moves, then the rook is hanging. So there is no defense. In fact, simply the move knight takes d6, first taking care of this pawn and then doing whatever you want to was the winning idea, because g takes f6 would allow queen g6 check now. And as you can see, things are falling apart. King h8, queen f6, king g8, and I wonder bishop d3 would be winning, rook f1 would be winning, queen g5 would be winning. It's up to you what you want to choose. So hence Samay blundered. He played the move queen g6, but now comes d5, bishop takes d5. He tries to maintain this spin. Queen takes d5, rook takes f7. What else? If queen goes back, then simply chops off the rook. So he plays rook f7, but immediately he resigns after queen takes f7, and that is another loss. There were some funny mate in ones as well. For example, in this position, Samay's opponent plays queen e2, Samay plays queen d2, and his opponent simply goes back to b5, allowing mate in one with rook a7. And this is not worse than the next one, where Samay here, after knight d4, instead of king f1, went to d1, allowing queen e1 as mate in one again. Samay had some amazing tactics too. For example, in this game, where he's playing swoosh, e4, d5 takes, we have the Scandinavian defense, queen e6, bishop e2, knight c6, knight f3. The queen dances around. Black is playing as if he's playing some 200-rated player. Castles, knight b4, d3, bishop s. Oh, the desperation. I can smell it even after the game. After knight h4, queen f6, they move around for a while. And here I think g takes h3 finally happens. Queen takes h4, knight e4, h5, and now king to g2. Here I think rook h6, rook g6 was the plan, but then he realized the bishop controls the h6 square. So he plays f6. Now bishop e3 by Samay. Good move. g5. What is black trying to do? I have no clue. Queen d2 attacks the knight, and black simply plays g4 as if pawns are going to win him the game. As if white is stupid enough to open the h file. That will not happen. Samay cleverly picks up the knight, and black here plays queen h3, king h1, and here he plays the move h4. And this is where Samay uncocked a brilliant tactic, a one which would be at least 2500 rated. Bishop takes g4. The queen is forced. It's trapped. It's literally trapped. Has to capture. And knight d6 check. The knight checks the king, and the queen attacks the queen, and that is over. Queen takes g4. And of course, the final moves were not so difficult, and he managed to win the game. So convincing display there. But again, he would counter in the next game with the flop. For example, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5, c3, d6, and the moves go on. But pretty soon you see knight g5. He has been playing this idea quite a bit. After knight h6, knight c3, castles, and knight d5, he's simply forgotten about the d4 pawn for some reason. And so does his opponent. Even he doesn't capture. After bishop d2 takes, knight e7, I think Samay has a great position here. But now he plays knight f6. What? What is knight f6? I couldn't understand what is knight f6 here. He just gives up the piece, and once black takes, he gives up another. But this was nothing compared to the drama that happened in this game. Here Samay, realizing that he's completely lost, plays the moves bishop f4 to try and go for stalemate. His opponent laughs. Never gonna happen, buddy. But as you will see, just in a couple of moves, it is stalemate. Oh my god, 220 IQ indeed. He saw this from before. Clever Samay. There were some fascinating attacks as well. For example, in this game, you can see after bishop takes c4, d takes c4, he focuses on the dark squares, the advantage he has. He plays knight e4 to come to f6. Black plays knight h5 to control the square. And now he plays bishop h4. The queen has to move, and now knight f6 check, queen f6, and bishop f6, and the plan is very simple to checkmate. Black cannot do much. He tries to play queen d4, queen h6, and now he plays queen f4 check, which is a last desperate try, of course. Samay picks up his queen, comes back, and mates black. So that was a brilliant attack. You know, Samay has those tactical brilliancies and then those tactical fails, but very rarely do we see him play a positional brilliancy. That's not his style of play, but in this game, he possibly played one. After g4, attacking the bishop dropped back, and you see him develop his pieces in a very orthodox manner. And black starts off the downfall by playing the move f6 for some weird reason. After castles, knight to h4, excellent positional move, getting to the f5 square, f4, launching an attack when black has, king in the center. It is risky because black's knight will now sit on e5, but luckily for white also has the d4 push, so it's not as risky as it sounds. Queen c7 and now f5, a6, bishop e6. That's sitting in his opponent's camp, straight in his lap. Castles, knight a4, headed to b6 and so on after takes. So c5, but knight comes back. This is GM level play. This is what GMs do. Play knight a4, tempt c5 and then come to c3. This is GM level play. After king b8, knight d5. Oh, what a game by Samay. Queen c6, knight g2 coming back into the game. Maybe headed to the e3 square. That is brilliant maneuvering. And after knight b6, bishop f2, he goes for it. Knight takes, bishop takes, queen b6, knight e3. This is insane. g6, bishop e6, g5, knight e5. What a game by Samay. I think this might be his best game ever. After queen c6, bishop takes, and knight takes c7. He basically wins a piece. The knight was the one defending the bishop, and that is converting your positional edge into a tactical one. Brilliant game by Samay, and he finishes black off in classic style, putting the queen and the rook on the 7th rank, and black has too many mate threats. Rook h1, yeah, this is just over. Queen d7, and his opponent resigned. What a game. But we are talking about Samay, and we have this position on the board, and you would look at these 3 pawns each, and most GMs would have drawn by now. And you look at this position like, okay, 3 pawns, king goes back, rook f2. There is no way on earth anybody can win this. But we are talking about Samay Raina here. Samay has the white pieces. He plays the move rook e2. Black plays this check. And now Samay goes ahead to h4 for some reason. And now after rook to b4, he should have come back. He should have. But he plays the move g3 now. And allows mate in 1 with g5, which I don't know why he did. I'll have to think over this for a long while, why he allowed this. But yeah, it definitely spoiled the taste in my mouth from the last game, for sure. And that taste is not getting any better, because for some reason here, after bishop takes e6, I think he assumed white would take with the king, because after f takes e6, he played knight d5, which I am quite surprised about, I have to admit. I did not expect this at all. So I'm assuming he pre-moved this, and that was the issue. Yeah, it does seem like a pre-move because the time did not decrease. So yes, probably a pre-move. But there wouldn't be a Samay Raina game until we look at this game. This is the classic Samay we know. e4, e5, d4 takes, queen d4, knight c6, queen e3, and now knight to f6, knight c3, and bishop b4. So far, all good theory. After bishop d2, castles, and d6, we prevent e5. White plays h3 to launch an attack on the king side. Rook e8 puts pressure on the pawn, so the queen slips to g3. And here Samay plays bishop takes c3, which is risky, I must add. And after bishop takes c3, if you know who Samay Raina is, well, if you've reached this far, you know what happened next. You know what Samay played here. I don't need to speak it out loud, and I will just let the chessboard show you. So, we were wondering if Samay blunders mate in 1, due to content. He wants to lose on stream for content. Apparently not. So, that was really unfortunate, and he lost with mate in 1. So this was a taste of Samay Raina. Well, he clearly hasn't gained a lot of rating this year, but he hasn't lost too much either. So he's around 1500 in Rapid right now, 1600 in Bullet. You can see he's been playing a lot. Just look at the dates. It's just insane number of games. On 31st Jan alone, 30th Jan, 29th Jan, 28th Jan, 26th Jan, 25th, 24th, 23rd, he's been playing every single day. So, there's a 100% accuracy game. How did I miss that? Oh, wow. We have to look at this. Just a second. Oh, e4, e5. It's bishop c4, h6, knight takes e5, d6, and knight takes f7. Okay, I apologize, Samay. I should not have missed that one. It's my fault. I totally take the blame for that one. So great game there. 100% accuracy game by Samay Raina. I could have made a separate video on this. Samay Raina, 100% accuracy, and could have gotten way more views. See, I'm such an honest YouTuber. So please do subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next video. By the way, if you're wondering, how do I know Samay Raina? I know him from a few sub battles I played for him. And he tortured me. Check it out here. I'll see you in the video.